Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
This episode is brought to you by Atlassian. Atlassian makes the team collaboration software that powers enterprise businesses around the world, including over 80% of the Fortune 500. With Atlassian's AI-powered software like Jira, Confluence, and Loom, you'll have more time to do the work that matters. In fact, Atlassian customers experience a 25% reduction in project duration per year. Unleash the potential of your team at Atlassian.com. Atlassian.
Welcome to the Sportsman's Voice podcast, your inside connection to outdoor legislation. From the Beltway to policy happening your way, we're covering it all. I'm your host, Fred Bird. Join us as we explore public land access, wildlife and fisheries management, Second Amendment rights, the triumphs that shape our nation, the sports we all love, and the stories that fuel our passion for the great outdoors. This is the Sportsman's Voice podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Sportsman's Voice podcast. We have a special one for you on this National Hunting and Fishing Day, the National Hunting and Fishing Day special. I am joined by our president and CEO, Jeff Crane, and the distinct pleasure to sit down with the founder and CEO of Bass Pro Shops Cabela's, Mr. Johnny Morris. Not going to talk too much. We're going to jump right into the show. Let's go.
I should have had on my Congressional. Yeah, you said, but you look good with the Bass Pro Shops, Johnny. This is, by the way, this is one of your shirts. So,
Same here. Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Before we get into the show and the line of questioning, I did want to just kind of open it up talking about, we're here. It's hunting season. We're a couple days away from National Hunting and Fishing Day. Some seasons are already open at this point. And what are your plans? Where are we going this fall?
Well, I can remember about a day at a time, so I can answer your question. Tomorrow, I'm headed out to Utah with my son and his wife Kelly, and their little boy, and another buddy from here in the sticks, Ava, Missouri. My buddy Ronnie. So we're going to go out and do a little bow hunting for. I look at you two guys. I see all your deer up there, but we're heading out maybe hunt deer for a little bit in Utah. Well, I'm also fortunate enough to be going elk hunting, but in Colorado, but not until a little later in the fall. The rut will be over, so we're going to carry rifles so we can reach out, talk to them there, John.
There you go.
But I'm excited. It's season started, so it's a magical time of the year. It's the best. I mean, if you get an animal, great. If you don't, just being out there, it's amazing.
We've had a couple mornings here in New Hampshire where I live where it's almost touched the high 40s. The humidity is taken out of it, and you get that smell. It's like it's clicked. I'm already ready to go and get in here. So it's a magical time, like we all said.
Well, thank you guys again for all you do.
Oh, thank you.
Those opportunities alive.
All right. In the interest of time here, sir, and respecting your time, I want to get into this here. We are here to celebrate National Hunt and Fish Day. Great acknowledgement of the good work of conservationists, sportsmen, and women across this nation for over 50 years. First acknowledged by Congress in 1971, and then by President Nixon in 1972. And right when you were taking over and starting Bass Pro Shops yourself, what did those first proclamations mean to you in the early days of national hunting fishing?
To be honest with you, I wasn't even aware of it.
Yeah.
But it was a seed that got planted that means the world today, and so every day, I appreciate you remembering that. That's 72 is when we opened up the doors to Bass Pro Shops. And every day back then was National Hunting and Fishing Day for me.
Mhm.
I was going into shop some, but I was meeting with fellow sportsmen and people who love the outdoors and gals and guys. And I was doing a lot of fishing, so every day was like that. And maybe back then you, pardon me, take some things for granted that over time, many of the wonderful people in our company, we've come to realize the significance of reinvesting back in conservation, the future of our sports that we love.
Indeed. How acknowledging that, you know, you even said it, you didn't even know it was a thing back then. Uh, Fast forward, you know, 55, 53 years, how is the celebration and the acknowledgement of the day and what it celebrates? How is that?
Well, I just perspective of us here at Bass Pro, we're blessed. We have a bigger voice, or we're connected with so many fellow sportsmen and also future generations. And maybe as important or more important than that is how do we spread the word of the role that sportsmen and women, hunters and anglers have played in conservation. So it's a way to celebrate and amplify that original proclamation and to celebrate and reach out to others, both that live and breathe of being outdoors and love to hunt and fish, but also how do you connect with new audiences and get people excited and to understand the heritage of our sports and the American tradition for many, many years, even, prehistoric people, Native Americans, and people that practiced conservation before more modern times.
It seems so automatic for some of those collection of people you just mentioned. It was just part of everyday living now. Fast forward to 2024 and you know, life is just moving so fast. We're going one step to the next, and it's really a concerted effort to focus on what used to be a very natural thing and just occurred by virtue of human beings being human.
Yep. And I think too, just one of the things for Wonders of Wildlife Museum and Aquarium to have the honor to host this event. And we created that, and Jeff was right by our side and many other leaders in conservation. But the first exhibit we have in that hall is all about prehistoric people and especially Native Americans that were really living off the land. They were hunters, right? And anglers. But they gained such a respect, just like Audubon and Roosevelt, because Audubon and Roosevelt, they were immersed in nature and because they were hunters and anglers, and they gained a firsthand appreciation for the importance of habitat and also regulation. You look back at people who are just living off the land, and how that's part of our heritage, right? Is harvest, a healthy, sustainable harvest of a God-given natural resources, whatever, including fish and wildlife. When we had that first hall, it was all set up. It was like King of Bucks or like a trophy whitetail haul. It was pretty much done. And I just started thinking, man, I walked in there one day and it just occurred to me, okay, here kids are coming in and they see these harvested animals, but no, wait a minute. We got to start off. What is our real heritage of hunting and conservation?
And Fred, if I can just add to Johnny's question real quickly about how has National Hunting and Fishing Day changed in 53 years? Certainly, having Wonders of Wildlife and Bass Pro Shops hosted at that magnificent location has just elevated how important this really is and typical of everything that they do. It gives it some profile and something exciting and 'cause there are a lot of proclamated days. But thank you, Johnny, for taking the leadership and agreeing to be the permanent home of National Hunting and Fishing Day
I
because
love,
it needs it.
yeah. And I think too, the whole mission of our facility, as you're aware, is like, how do we tell the story of the role that sportsmen and women have played in conservation? I think it's shame on us, but the average customer, I get the vast majority of people that come in a Bass Pro Shop today, they're maybe not aware of, the sportsmen and women that levy that tax, that federal excise tax. And every time somebody buys a fish plug or a rod or a reel or a shotgun or shotgun shells, 10% of what they are spending for that gear, that federal excise tax, it's collected and then goes back to the states. And you look at that, plus you add on to that money the revenue from the sale of hunting and fishing license, man, that funds like a big part of all the wonderful work our state fish and wildlife agencies do. So to me, it's not, it's our heritage, but also man, we got to tell the story about and be proud. Where would conservation be in North America today as a leader in the world without hunters and anglers? I mean, they built this and they paid for it, and you guys carry it on.
I think we all do, and championed by you and all you've done over the years. It's you're 100% right, and that excuse me, we have a lot to celebrate and stories to tell about our community and what we do. Everything you just articulated, and I would argue that is number one or two, but it's up there. Story to tell, and it's been a challenge over the years. And the less participation we have, and again, harkening back to what I said earlier about life just moving at the speed of light, speed of sound, people understanding our role in that system and how a very small group of people do all this great for everybody. Everyone that goes outside and bird watches or tries their hand at fishing for bluegills once in a while, that is all done on the backs of a very few people, and we do so enthusiastically. Asking all those years ago in the
Yeah,
1930s, hey, we'll take this responsibility on happily.
absolutely.
Sir, if there was a Mount Rushmore of conservationists, surely Johnny Morris would be on it. Given your lifetime of passion and dedication to our great resources and outdoor traditions, how, if at all, has your message and the Bass Pro family's messaging evolved around National Hunting and Fishing Day over these last 53 years?
Well, I think you got a little carried away there, but
Yeah.
thank you. I get credit sometimes for the passions and commitment of many wonderful people that are part of our company and also the customers we serve. And one thing I think all of us in the company have come to believe, like most things in life, but to achieve really meaningful things, it takes teamwork, people reaching out to each other. And we can't just, I mean, we need our federal agencies or state agencies, but you can't just regulate good conservation. We have to have regulations. We have to throw bad guys in the jail, but to really, it takes people reaching out to each other. Like you and Jeff does the most beautiful job. I'm not just saying it because you're on here, Jeff, but both sides of the aisle, so bipartisan with the Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation. And then I look what happens, the magic, if you get the agencies working with the NGOs or the conservation organizations, not for profit, you get companies, enthusiastic to be patted on the back or just their own motivation to be involved, and then individuals. When you get everybody coming together, and I look at Jeff as like a uniter and Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation because they're big listeners. Jeff doesn't talk a lot, but he listens, and when he does say something, people listen, and so that's what gets me fired up.
Jeff, do you have anything you'd like to add in that line of thought?
Other than Jeff doesn't talk a lot. Well, that depends. I think my staff may disagree sometimes, John, but I appreciate the kind word. No, I think that sums it up beautifully.
Very good. The day we use it to highlight and bring attention to the amazing work and value of our community that we just talked about and how it provides for the good of all citizens. Part of that celebration is a call to action to get folks outdoors, bring someone new to fishing, mentor a youth at a shooting range, and the like. From your perspective, what role can National Hunting Fishing Day play in encouraging mentorship of tomorrow's sportsmen and women and our conservation leadership?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think just being a spark plug of excitement and also the ability sometimes, if we hear this word a lot these days, like influencers, but maybe you say they're heroes or individuals that share our passion that have more limelight. And I think of our mutual friend, Richard Childress, the racing guy, and he's the chairman. I just want to thank Richard today, too, on this little call because he's a friend, and our friendship led me to better understand and our company to better understand the importance of the work the Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation does. I mean, I knew of it, but I wasn't around it that much. I wasn't fully exposed. And so I thank Richard. Do you get an athlete? Do you get a baseball player, a country music singer? I just reached out to somebody I'm not going to share his name right now, but he loves hunting and fishing. He practices conservation, common sense conservation. and he's American hero. And I've got my fingers crossed I can call you guys back. But when you get people, one thing this hunting and fishing day, you get people that have a profile and maybe they influence a kid. And so I mentioned Richard's name, but for years we've had Bass Pro on the hood of a car. Hopefully we do that to grow our brand, but also think some of these influencers, like if Dale Jr. drives a race car, Tony Stewart and a day, but these celebrities, they influence kids. They look up. And so if fishing is cool with Martin Truex Jr. or with Austin Dillon or Dale Earnhardt or Dale Earnhardt Jr., other kids go, wow, fishing's cool with him, hunting. It influenced me. And it's like a cross-pollination of introducing people into the sport rather than just and I love our pro angler team and celebrity, sportsmen hunters. But like when you get people that have high profile and they can be ambassadors, that moves the needle too, I think. And that's what this fishing and hunting day can help do and what it does.
I think it's, to kind of expound on that too, there are the known influencer celebrities that you mentioned. I always find it interesting when I learn of somebody that has a prominent voice in their given industry, music, art, whatever it is. And then you get this glimpse that all of a sudden, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's a great example. When he was putting out, and I think he had a Bass Pro Shops hat on when he was.
Yeah, I remember that. And his
Yeah,
kids going fishing.
And he's fishing, he's catching 10-pound cows out of his bass pond. All these years watching him in the wrestling ring and all of his movies, I don't think anyone really knew. As soon as he put it out there, I mean, all of a sudden, I think the sales of that Bass Pro Shop hat probably went crazy, and everyone, The Rock is fishing. I want to fish too. So it's always neat when people you wouldn't expect, and they come out and they give you that little behind the scenes, pull the curtain like, hey, this is more prominent and more normal than people realize.
Yeah. We have this slogan, take a kid fishing, you'll be happy you did. And that's what he was doing, a lot of his posts. And so that's great. And I think this too all the time. People think hunting, and I see your guys' trophy bucks, so don't take this wrong. But we all dream, it's cool, are we going after a giant bass or a giant buck? But the main trophy that we all get, and Jeff and I have shared days in the boat that you get memories in life. Trophy memories is the real trophy you're after, is trophy memory with your family or friends or making new friends. When you share that time together, and that's what really hunting and fishing, to me, it's just an excuse for happy times in life and being in nature. And like Roosevelt and Audubon, you get exposed to conservation in a real world common sense appreciation way.
That's exactly right. Well put. Sir, recently we had Adam Putnam on, CEO of Ducks Unlimited, and he joined us on the program. And through that conversation, there was an acknowledgement that we are facing a challenge with conservation leaders coming out of higher education. Some people are just lacking that field experience. They get their book smart, but they haven't, had that opportunity to go fish and hunt. Both CSF and Ducks Unlimited have stood up collegiate programs, and we have worked very well together in supporting these very successful programs and trying to, get to the leaders of tomorrow. What would you say to these young leaders on National Hunting Fishing Day as they plan their futures somewhere in the conservation space?
I think this comes to my mind. There's different kinds of paychecks, right? But what I have some of my best friends in life are like captains or guides. Do they necessarily have the highest paying job with a paycheck or dollar bills? Maybe, maybe not. But do they, as far as gratification,
Right.
Making people happy? And I think of the field of conservation and friends we have, how do you spend your day that's making a difference and really having a positive impact? And I say this to young people that I have the opportunity to address or be around that are studying conservation in school, and they go forward. I feel this way, that for these young people or somebody coming in a career, it's like here, Bass Pro. Yes, you have to have some discipline. You have to have some regulations, but you don't really achieve greatness by trying to catch somebody doing the wrong thing. We got to pat them on the back for doing what's right. And I look at our Missouri Department of Conservation. I believe they're a friend to the Missouri farmer and landowner. They're welcomed on there because they can help them preserve, soil erosion, whatever. We
Yep.
have great programs that they can leave part of they meet criteria, they can leave part of their crop behind for the wildlife and they get rewarded for it. And I've often thought, like, some agencies, that's not the case because a farmer or landowner, they're afraid they're going to lose a family farm because grandpa dumped something he shouldn't have, you know, 50 years ago or 100 years ago. And so we just need encouragement. And I think, like Jeff does, young people, they can lead through motivation and common sense. One thing that's encouraging to me, and I think all of us in conservation, is the average American is more conscientious and wants to do the right thing by the environment and conservation. But there's also a path of what I call like common sense conservation. What really makes sense economically, and like Roosevelt was so big on harvesting our God-given natural resources in a responsible way. And he'd say, harvest our timber from our forest and make them more healthy and more valuable in the process and not diminished in value. And I think some of that common sense thinking is missing. So how do we address this? I don't know, other than try to just encourage these young people. It's an important thing that they can achieve more by common sense and patting people on the back, encouraging, motivate people to do the right thing and reach out to create teamwork and friendships rather than just trying to catch somebody stumping their toe.
Mm-hmm. Jeff, any thoughts on that line of questioning there for tomorrow's leaders?
Yeah, and again, I think Johnny touched on it earlier. Is when the ideal partnership comes together, when you have the state agencies, you've got the various conservation organizations, you got our industry partners, and we're successfully doing things that create better habitat, better wildlife, better fish, and then by association, better hunting opportunities and better fishing opportunities. That is the ultimate goal. And that's what we're all striving to do, and I think that the leaders that come out, to Johnny's point, they need to be focusing on this idea that is the goal. We want to make cleaner water, better air, better wildlife, better habitat, better experiences outdoors. And if we're all pulling on that same goal is out there, and then we all unite to bring the resources that we can bring to bear, how successful does that feel? There are more white-tailed deer now. There are more bison now. There are more pronghorn antelope than there were 125 years ago. And so there are success stories that we can draw on. It took the landowners, it took the government, it took the nonprofit, it took the businesses to all pull together. And if we can keep that message as being, that is what we're all aspiring to together, then the sky is the limit on what we can do.
That's fantastic. Wrapping up here, a couple more questions. We kind of already touched on it, but I wanted to, acknowledge here, Bass Pro Shops and your family play a crucial and pivotal role in conservation across this great country. Your amazing philanthropic work, supporting nonprofits, and the use of your prominent voice across the nation with our political leaders about all issues conservation and the protection of our hunting heritage, Bass Pro Shops and Johnny Morris stand among giants. And the acknowledgement of that and all that amazing work, you've already spoken to, what an honor it is as Bass Pro Shops and Wonders of Wildlife are the home of National Hunting and Fishing Day. Again, just kind of revisit what that means to you and what can folks in the area, can people come to Wonders of Wildlife on National Hunting and Fishing Day and celebrate with?
Hey, we're having everybody in the company, so we're having a celebration days. And we got Ferris wheels, we have Ranger Rick out there. We got Paw Patrol. We got little, archery toys. We got big bass jump up into bouncy rooms. And a lot of folks from Missouri Department of Conservation. There'll be a lot of hands-on. We got dive with the sharks. A lot of fun in a cage, of course. But we're having a big hoop-de-doo. Everybody in the company, we invited all of our outfitters from here local. in a community. So we got free bison brats. We got Andy's frozen custard, but it's a fun time. Ferris wheel, all this stuff, and a couple of country music folks will be there and we'll sing. Our buddy Clay Self, and we'll just have a fun celebration. But all this too, the kids will get, especially kids, on these couple of nights are just for kids, big kids too, I guess. But with to get a dose of conservation education, just to be introduced to all the things we've talked about. And I think that's one of the biggest things broadly. Hopefully people come from around the region or across the country around the year. But for these days, we're really going to have a big hoop-de-doo.
Well, I can attest firsthand. I know the kind of parties that are thrown there on campus. It is a beautiful store, and if you've never been to Wonders of Wildlife, do yourself a favor, make that trip, because the displays, the taxidermy, the original Bass Pro Shop story is all there, and it's just a wonderful time to take your time and walk through that and take it all in. It's an amazing collection.
Yeah, and then we're honored to be the host for like the Fly Fishing Hall of Fame, International Game Fish Association, Archery Hall of Fame, NRA Sporting Arms history. And so there's different things there's really a lot of history. There's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of history here at this campus.
The wild sheep display stands out to me, as well as the Arctic display. I was just completely floored by the amazing displays and how that's all set up. It's beautiful.
Can I, Fred, let me sort of ask a question, kind of a question, because I think that National Hunting and Fishing Day at Bass Pro Shops Cabela's is every day, 365 days a year, because of the way that you make the experience of walking into one of your stores, Johnny. I mean, it just, from aquariums to taxidermy to all the cool stuff that everybody wants to buy and take home, to just the rock climbing walls. What was your thinking about, when you developed the concept to create a real experience, an outdoor experience indoors?
Yeah.
It's kind of the way I view it, and I think you're probably the best salesperson, spokesperson, visionary for what National Hunting and Fishing Day means 365 days a year, just with the way you present that experience when you walk through the door.
Well, thank you. And to answer your question, so like the first 13 years, the only shop we had was in my dad's liquor store. And so a building came for sale down the road where our headquarters is today. It was called Gibson's Discount. And it was like an early day Walmart. So we put our warehouse in there. We had 20,000 feet of store. We had our telephone operators and office, everything together. But my sister Susie and I took a field trip to visit LL Bean in Freeport, Maine. And I saw all these people coming there. It was incredible. And they told us how many people they're hosting. And it was basically their catalog customers. I just thought, man, if they can get all these people to come to Freeport, Maine, we can get a lot of people to come to Springfield, Missouri. So our catalog business was doing good, and it wasn't real capital intensive. We just inventory and turn it. So we had a little money in a piggy bank. So I just wanted to create a daydream store for our customers, inspired by LL Bean. I spent 2 years. I visited every sporting goods store I could hear of in the States. I went to Germany. I visited the store Franconia, Kettner. I went to Sweden. I just visited sporting goods stores everywhere and tried to get the best ideas and then we came up with some of our own, like aquariums, waterfalls, wildlife dioramas, but also places like indoor archery range, indoor so guys can sight in their rifle. Was every store in Sweden. I mean, they just had, so our first rifle range was just like a concrete sewer pipe we dug up in the parking lot, but it was to serve customers better, okay, plus a fun experience. And thank goodness we didn't have to, well, I don't know how we smuggled it by the bank or the lender, but we followed our passion to create a fun place for other fellow sportsmen and women to come, and it really caught hold. We opened that store about 87, the bigger store. And then we had this event, World Fishing Fair, to celebrate it. But also kind of along the way, we've always tried to salute our conservation partners. And I think that's something we've done better over the years, but we can continue to share these messages like we're talking about through inspire young people and people of all ages, salute our fellow sportsmen and make them aware of, like, National Hunting and Fishing Day. What is the good that's come from efforts of the sportsmen that are united and women?
It's a great question, Jeff. Thank you so much for it. That was fantastic. I got lost listening.
Yeah, I carry on sometimes.
No, it's wonderful. That's what we're doing here. We're storytelling and sharing our great history.
Yeah, can you edit the heck out of this, huh?
Well, I sure can.
Okay, good.
Speaking of recorded radio. Jeff, what has the partnership between CSF and Bass Pro Shops meant over the years to CSF's ability to advocate and educate lawmakers in our state capitals?
I think, simply put, without Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, without Johnny, John Paul, all the great people in the organization, CSF wouldn't be the leader in the conservation community we are today. They give us the muscle and the horsepower, the partnership, the resources to be able to expand and just be able to be successful. And so they're one of our longest standing, if not longest standing partners, and certainly our most significant partner. And so, Johnny, to you and your team, all the wins that we get in the policy arena wouldn't be possible without you. And just on a personal note, our good friend Richard Childress likes to say it, and I agree with him, that, Johnny Morris is the modern day Theodore Roosevelt of the 21st century. You've been a successful businessman, but your passion for hunting, fishing, outdoors, your love of kids and introducing people to the outdoors comes through in everything you do, and your ability to just to have the energy to keep pushing all the time and looking at opportunities for supporting all kinds of great things it's remarkable. You're an inspiration, my friend, and I'm really blessed and thankful to have the opportunity to know you. And this organization, again, would not be here today in the capacity it was without you.
Hey, it's because we're all shoulder to shoulder. Our customers, fellow sportsmen, you guys. I mean, it's a powerful team when we're all together, and we're just honored. And you said kind things to me, but from all of our customers and all the people that are part of our company, we thank you very much, you guys, and how you spread the word. The world's so politically charged in America right now. It's like people like this. But I think conservation is a uniter. It can be, and it should be, and you help make it that way because you deliver these messages. It doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican, like, here's our common goals we have, here's our common opportunities, and your members on the Hill there, that they take their time and they're united from both sides. That's pretty credit to you for that. Okay, we got to do something besides pat each other on the back here. We got to go fishing and get mad.
Yeah,
indeed. Well,
competitive here,
We'll wrap it up with this. On this National Hunting and Fishing Day, what is your message, sir, to the sportsmen and women and the lawmakers who do great things on behalf of the sporting and conservation community?
Thank you. We're proud. Everybody coming together. I keep repeating that, but thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. And thank you more than that, just for having a passion to be involved, to make a difference, because together we can make a heck of a difference. And it's a happy part of life, and for our country. And we got to have things no matter if we're put on a suit every day, go in a factory, whatever, we have to have our daydreams to keep us going. And hunting and fishing is it's a daydream thing. We got to keep it happy and alive. So we thank you guys. I got to go fishing myself.
I'm just going to add, Johnny, again, I said it earlier, thanks for making National Hunting Fishing Day at Bass Pro Shops Cabela's 365 days a year for all of us. Keeps us thinking about what we can do next and what do we need next. And you're a great partner in this. And again, thank you for being the host at Wonders of Wildlife Museum. We're honored to support that and help that, and drive as many of the legislative bodies out there at the state and federal level to recognize it with proclamations, and appreciate you highlighting those as part of the celebration, because we need government officials, elected officials, to recognize the importance of hunting and fishing to not only the economies, but most importantly to the culture of America.
Culture of America, you got it. And I say all these things to be thankful for. I feel so blessed. Like I was thinking of Hank Jr.'s song, Family Tradition. I'm so blessed. Like I could show you around this room, but everywhere is like pictures of my mom and dad that always had the time, made it a priority to take me and my sisters fishing and to go bird hunt now and then. There weren't any turkey. They told me, I'll not keep rambling on, but my parents were both born in 1911, and they became huge fans of the Missouri Department of Conservation because they saw firsthand when they were kids or they were growing up, there weren't any white-tailed deer around here, and there weren't any wild turkeys. And I mean, if they saw them, it was very rare. And then what they got to see in their lifetime because of conservation, they didn't have much financial, but they were rich in quality of life, and being outdoors is a big part of that. Thank you for keeping that a part of our country, guys.
Gentlemen, I'd like to thank both of you for your time today. You're both very busy in your respective positions, and just can't thank you enough for the time. So happy National Hunting and Fishing Day, and look forward to the next one, and keep celebrating every day as we go.
Absolutely. Have a happy day, guys.
See you down on the trail somewhere, Johnny. Thanks for joining us.
It's my honor.
All right, one more huge thank you to Johnny Morris for making the time and coming on this little humble program here, and sharing his stories and the successes, just everything he's been able to do. We still have more of the show. Our leader, our president and CEO, Jeff Crane, has graciously stayed on for a little more. And I wanted to talk to Jeff more about internally what we do here at CSF and the efforts we make. Jeff, I can highlight, last year, I want to say we set a record with proclamations from our governors, many of them on our Governor Sportsman's Caucus, some not, some in, you would think, challenged states. Talk about that, what that means. I mean, especially for you over all these years of seeing the evolution of it and the importance of that day happening in the state capitals as well as, the White House.
So I think, Fred, it's the fact that elected officials, especially people as high as governors and even the president of the United States, acknowledging National Hunting and Fishing Day really says more about acknowledging the importance of hunting and fishing as part of the culture of America, as part of something that is important to this country or their individual states, and so. It might be nothing more than a proclamation in some people's minds, and in mine, it is much more significant than that, and is why we put a lot of effort in making sure these proclamations come out. And you are right. Last year we got a record number of those because it just is an acknowledgement, an endorsement that hunting and fishing belong in the United States. The 21st century is no different than the 18th or 19th or 20th century. This is part of America. It's part of our culture. And, we typically tie in those proclamations, the whole North American model and the American system of conservation funding to acknowledge that hunters and anglers are the financial backbone of conservation in this country and have been the longest time supporters of conservation for game and non-game species. And so it's significant, and it is something we do dedicate time, as you're well aware, because you're involved in that, to try to round these up. And it is important, and we're very proud of the fact that we get this turnout and this acknowledgement that hunting and fishing are part of 21st century America.
What's very real about these proclamations, besides the paper they're printed on, is the numbers that go into it, the financial wins, if you will, the amount of the number of hunter and anglers that is articulated in these things. These are real numbers. They're real people. They're real dollars. And when you coalesce that all together, That is a big number. And again, we acknowledged it at the beginning of the program here, built on the backs of not a lot of people when you look at 330 million people in this country.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And and I think we struggle as a whole community of outdoors men and women and really getting that message across. And this is just another opportunity and example. If we can get that across a governor's desk or across the president's desk, and they're looking at that, man, and before they put their signature on it, it's registering in there that this is more than just about tradition. This is about how many of your voters, if you're one of those guys or ladies that are signing these proclamations, how many of your voters care about this? How much economic impact does that have in your state? What kind of tax revenues? So we do try to weave all of those messages together to make it as impactful as possible and to give credit to where we as hunters, anglers, trappers, shooters all deserve to get credit because of this unique system of a taxation and a user pays public benefits model that is unique to America. And so it's a great day to be able to celebrate all of
And I know you said, every day, especially at Bass Pro and with our partners is National Hunting Fishing Day. And I agree with that sentiment. We live it. We are neck deep in this stuff every single day for our part. But for the for the person that we're trying to target, the young person, or let me couch that. Young folks are always our target, if you will. We want to see young kids get out there because that's that legacy we leave to them, and we hope that through our 3 efforts and the like that they carry on through. But really, I think the adult population is really the important group to get to nowadays here in 2024. Again, just acknowledging there's so much occupying our time. And I just think, like, if you can get to that mom who has an interest, who all of a sudden, backyard chicken coops and self-sustaining vegetable gardens are going up. Well, I don't know, go and getting some fish, some crappie, a white-tailed deer to supplement your feed. Those people, I think, are prime for the picking to come on out and join us.
right. And once you make it accessible enough that people realize that because there is a lot around it that can be intimidating for somebody that's never had that opportunity to go do it. And that's why the mentorship plays such a big role, to have somebody that can take you. And hats off to all the folks that are taking their time to be mentors and all the efforts to get people outside hunting and fishing. But once you realize how exciting it is, how fun it is, what you can take from the field to the table and how delicious it is. I mean, you for people that don't do this, if you have the opportunity, just try and find somebody. And there are lots of organizations that try to promote the mentorship and try to make opportunities. But like you and I, we were fortunate enough to be introduced to this as younger people directly in our family, but making an effort to try to bring other friends and stuff. And I've got lifelong hunters that never grew up around guns or hunting, that just have taken to it for the exact reasons you and I and all the listeners to this podcast understand. Once you get out there, it is an exciting opportunity. It's hugely rewarding, and it's really fun. So.
And as the bumper sticker goes, you don't see venison chops getting recalled like you do ground beef in the store.
Yeah, and no hormones in this stuff.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. You hit on it, and I just wanted to kind of expound on it. I asked Johnny, how's the messaging changed over the years, and you just kind of touched on the mentorship where we're at in 2024, and I think that's part of what's changed, and the intimidation and kind of the good old boy system that people will often reference as somewhat of a barrier to entry, just their own insecurities with it. That has changed tremendously, even from when I started, in my Air Force days before I went to the whitetail woods in the very early 2000s. It's changed in 20 plus years, and for the better. It's more welcoming. the technology, the ability to mentor, maybe not in person, but through all of this here with computers and phones and dialing. Well, how do you set up a mock scrape? Boom, it's right there on your phone in 2 seconds or less. It's incredible the amount of information and the information that's shared enthusiastically. So I think in 2024, it's maybe the messaging is just ask. If you're interested, ask or look it up. It's there. I mean, that's the way you ask passively.
Yeah, and I think you made a critical point there in the sense that we tend to focus on the negatives and, where are trends and what are happening and why are we losing, younger people to this. And you hit on it earlier in the show with all the competition that wasn't around 50 years ago with all the electronics and stuff like that. And your recreation was to go outside and go explore, and that became a lot more fertile ground. But there are so many positive resources, and as you say, there are all kinds of people that are trying to encourage people to get outside and see what the hunting, fishing, shooting, trapping is about. And so the resources that weren't available are at your hands just as much as well. And it's just it's a great opportunity to enjoy time outside and yeah, pick up your phone and just ask on your phone, and you will find some sort of resource, something of interest that hopefully will spur something. And fishing is certainly an easier thing, but hunting it's there, and there are plenty of people that would like to share the mentoring with you, and encourage you to take a few minutes to look at it because it's out there.
Perfect way to put a bow on the conversation. Yep, you're exactly right. Jeff, thanks for hanging on a little extra long to talk about our work and get more of your thoughts. And thanks for your leadership and all that you do for us.
Well, Fred, and thank you for pulling this together. What a treat to have Johnny Morris, such a conservation icon, be able to join us to get a little time to hear about his views on things. And what a great show. So thanks. Keep it up, my friend.
Yes, sir. You got it. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to do it. It's a pleasure.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Thanks again. I know a lot of thanks in this here particular show, but yeah, thanks. I mean, thanks to Jeff. He's a busy fella, but for Johnny to carve out the time and a significant amount of time with us is phenomenal. And that's speaks to the gentleman that he is, the character, the leader he is in our world, and speaks to his passion, willing to sit down and just tell those stories. I a couple times I won't say I zoned out, but I just got lost in the storytelling. That's what I love so much about this medium. That's what I love about getting to know people, whether you're a Johnny Morris or, your local politician here at the Rodden Gun Club, talking about what's happening in the state. All of our stories matter, and they're all wonderful. And they add to the total story, the total conservation story, the total story of our hunting heritage, and why it's so important to us, and why a great many of us dedicate our lives to it professionally, as volunteers, as businessmen, coming up 50 plus years of, from one store to, a worldwide juggernaut, really. I mean, your international sales via internet sales, really international brick and mortar. What Johnny Morris, his family, his retail group have been able to do and become part of the fabric of communities and states and provinces is nothing short of incredible. And it, yeah, all of that. It just tells a story. I mean, we talk about the proclamations with Jeff and the money raised by hunting dollars and federal match through Pittman Robinson, the number of licenses sold. Shoot, man, Bass Pro Cabela's, they're chin deep, eyeballs deep in that with the sales of firearms and ammunition and angling products and boats. The job creation. I mean, we will cite, often the jobs created through the sporting community. I mean, I wish I'd researched and had that at my fingertips, how many people actually work for basketball. It is a lot. And those are a lot of lives that are affected by, again, our community. And then I think it's okay to acknowledge not all those people hunt, fish, trap, or even shoot. I think they're just happy to have a good paying job for a heck of a company that takes care of their folks, and they can make a good living in what I would think is a pretty happy place to work. So yeah, I mean, it's just it's so deep. And well, there it is. Happy National Hunting and Fishing Day. We're saying that now. It's obviously Saturday as this drops on a Thursday. So gives you a couple days. If you're listening to this, make plans. Find a person, find a young kid. We always say that, but like Jeff and I were talking about, I would challenge you to find that adult, find that lapsed hunter. Maybe you continued on hunting and fishing and you had a friend that you still maintain contact with and they just never gotten back to it. Use this as an excuse to go afield. If pheasant hunting's open, I mean, that's pretty easy. If you got a spare shotgun, just go walk a field. If you don't have a dog, at least just get out there, throw that orange on, go fishing, go trout fishing, go crappie fishing. It's still pretty young in the season. So, the weather's pretty hospitable in most places. So, take advantage of the day. Hopefully the weather's good on Saturday where you're at. Even if it's not, put on a raincoat, go find a blind and find a reason to be outdoors. That's it. That's this show. As always, we appreciate our guests. We appreciate you folks tuning in and listening. And, hey, if some of these shows run long for you, I know it can be a commitment sometimes, you can always put us on at 1.25, 1.5 speed. I think I talk fast sometimes, so I don't know what I will sound like at 1.25 or 1.5, but if you don't have the 40 to 60 minutes on these feature shows to dedicate, do a little speed listening. You'll still get the message in less time commitment. But for all those that do listen all the way through, we appreciate you. Appreciate everyone that listens. It means a lot, and it's really helped this show grow. I mean, here we are going into National Hunting Fishing Day, and we are celebrating 1 year of this program. I can't believe it's already been a year, but it's been a whole hell of a lot of fun. And you guys make it that way for tuning in and giving the show an audience, and being able to bring people like Johnny Morris on to tell his story, to talk about his origin story and just all the interesting tidbits, and you learn more about that story. It's awesome. So as always, thanks for tuning in, guys. Be safe out there. Hunting season is here, or it's upon us, depending on where you're at. We're into it. Be safe afield. Make good choices. Make safe choices. And as always, CSF is your inside connection to outdoor legislation. We will see you Wednesday on the Roundup and in a couple Thursdays for another feature presentation. Thanks so much. See ya. Thanks for joining us on this edition of the Sportsman's Voice podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, your support is crucial, and you can help us out right now by leaving a review, filling in those 5 stars where available, sharing this episode with friends and family, and engaging with us socially. CSF can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter. Together, we can protect the outdoor sports we love and continue to keep you informed wherever you are. That's it for this week. Until next time, we'll see you later.